With the first pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Social Sports Pad podcast selects the hard count.
Thanks, Commissioner Overstreet. Are you guys ready for some football? Because I sure am. We're almost there, guys. I'm Cobra, and I am joined by Alex, Ben, Keith, and Tylor. Hopefully, we have more of our regular hosts coming on in. But say hello, everyone.
What's up, guys?
Hello.
Yes. This is definitely a very, very special night. The NFL Draft has concluded. The final day of draft was tonight. And so we gotta break things down a little bit. I mean, last time we talked about the draft was the Super Bowl, I believe. Where I was hoping for the meteor strike. I think all of us except for Keith were, because Keith's team, the Philadelphia Eagles, were Super Bowl champions. And so we're breaking down the mock draft. So tennis, we in our mock draft, we had Tennessee picking a defensive tackle. That was completely wrong. They got quarterback. They got Cam Ward. Cleveland had a number 2 pick. We thought they were going quarterback. No, they traded to Jacksonville and they got Travis Hunter. The Giants, they get Abdul Carter. Tylor said they were getting a linebacker. Edge is close enough. Keith said that New England was getting an offensive lineman. Lo and behold, Will Campbell. Cat said that Jacksonville is getting an offensive lineman. No, they traded with Cleveland, and Cleveland gets Mason Graham. I said that Vegas was going after a quarterback, which would be the landing spot Sheduer Sanders. That was wrong. They got Ashton Genty. The Jets, DJ said they were getting a defensive back. They ended up getting an offensive tackle, Armand Membu. Ben was right on the money on this one. They were getting a wide receiver, Tetaroa McMillan. Tylor with New Orleans said that New Orleans is getting an offensive lineman. They got Kelvin Banks. Keith also said that Chicago was getting an offensive lineman. No, they got the first tight end off the board with Colston Loveland. Cat said that San Francisco was getting an edge. That was right on the money with Michael Williams. I said that Dallas was getting a safety in the first round. No, they got Tyler Booker, offensive guard. DJ said that Miami was getting an offensive lineman. No, it turned out to be Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle. Ben said Indianapolis is getting an offensive lineman. No, that was Tyler Warren, tight end.
That was
Tylor said that Atlanta was getting probably Tyler Warren, tight end. No, that was Jalen Walker, edge. Keith said that Arizona was getting an offensive lineman. No, they got Walter Nolan, defensive tackle. Cat said that Cincinnati was getting another wide receiver. No, that was Shamar Stewart, an edge. I said that Seattle was getting an edge. No, they got Gray Zabel, offensive guard. Keith said that Tampa Bay was getting a running back. They ended up getting a wide receiver and Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver. So that tells us something a little bit more. Cat said that Denver was getting either a defensive end or an edge. No, they got Jade Barron, a cornerback. I said that Pittsburgh was getting a wide receiver. No, they got a defensive tackle in Derek Harmon. Keith, I really got to question what you were thinking here. You said the Chargers were getting a kicker in the first round. They got Omarion Hampton, a running back.
I pulled out of my backside.
Everyone, moment of silence. Okay, moment over. Cat said that Green Bay was getting a defensive back. No, they end up getting Matt Golden, wide receiver. I said that Minnesota was going edge. No, they got Donovan Jackson, an offensive guard. Keith, we both were wrong because this was originally Houston's pick. You said it was going to be a defensive end or an edge. This was a Giants pick, and they ended up getting Jackson Dart. Cat had the Rams and went with a line and said they were getting a linebacker. This ended up going to Atlanta. They got James Pierce, an edge. I said that Baltimore was getting a wide receiver. No, they got Malachi Starks, a safety. Keith said that not Washington, but Detroit, was getting a wide receiver. They got Tyreek Williams, an edge.
No, he's a defensive tackle.
It is classified as an edge.
Oh, well, okay.
Cat said that Washington was getting a safety. They ended up getting Josh Connerly, an offensive tackle. I said that Buffalo was getting an edge or corner, and I was really fighting this. They end up getting Max Hairston, a cornerback from Kentucky. Then in the Super Bowl, we didn't have this recorded. Keith said that Philadelphia was getting either offensive or defensive linemen. They ended up trading to the Chiefs and getting a defensive lineman in 31, and then Kansas City got an offensive lineman in the last pick.
And they still won the Super Bowl.
They like to imagine that. So I'm going to start with Tylor because draft order. So basically, we're going to go Tylor, Alex, Ben, Keith, and myself. I am the host. I am default last. So, Alex, of the first round, which was your big surprise of the picks, by the way?
My personal surprise was honestly us picking up Jackson Dart in the first round.
Yes, everyone pegged Sheduer Sanders to go in the first round, and we'll get to that in a minute. It turned out Jackson Dart was the next quarterback taken in this round. Alex.
Yes.
Of the first rounders, which one was your big surprise?
My big surprise was the Bears getting Colson Loveland out of Michigan, the tight end. I thought they were going to go defensive at this pick. They reboosted the offensive line. They added receiver help, and they protected Caleb Williams. I like the tight end that they had last season. I thought they needed to rework the defensive line and the secondary spot. That was their big struggle with them last year, which is why they got so high in the draft. And tight end was not a pick I had them going 10th overall at all. I thought there was going to be reboosting the defense to try to, calm down the NFC North, knowing how tight the division is and how bolstered the defenses are with the Vikings and the Lions. And Packers are creeping up there with a good defense, but the tight end spot was an interesting spot for the Bears. So I was not expecting them to get a tight end.
All right. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Again, Keith had the Bears picking an offensive lineman and turned out to be a tight end. Ben.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this. I am really questioning this. I'm not. I mean, it's. I don't know. It could be It could be like, oh no, that's not right. You're wrong. However, now that I'm looking at this draft and I'm thinking about it, with the history of Chubb's injuries, I think it would have made more sense for the Browns to draft a Genty. Honestly, as I'm looking at this, they could have drafted Genty because it's right after them, and they were probably going to get there. I mean, hopefully, I don't know. Did they really need a defensive tackle at this moment? They already have a good one. It could have. Never mind. It's the Browns. It's the Browns.
The Browns have got to stop Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow.
It's the Browns.
right.
They should have got insurance or at least another like 1-2 duo punch of Genty and Chubb because you don't know how much more longer Chubb's going to be there. Chubb might be done.
All right. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Keith,
Yes.
of the first rounders, which one was your big surprise?
Will Campbell with the Patriots.
Will Campbell, the Patriots. Okay.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah, I was actually thinking that they were thinking about a different spot.
Oh, you thought they were going to trade back, get more assets. Okay, I see where you're going from with this. All right, that makes sense. That makes sense. As for me, oh no, he's here. Yup, he's here. All right, I'll give him the mic. Yinzer, you want to chime in? You're right. I want to chime in. What the hell is Pittsburgh doing not drafting a quarterback in the first round? We're going to have to stick with Mason the red zone reindeer? Come on! Fire Mike Tomlin into the sun! Thanks, Yinzer. Thank you. All right. And for me, I kind of had this, not going to lie, I'm kind of surprised with the Chargers. No, I'm surprised they didn't. I'm not surprised they didn't draft a kicker in the first round, Keith. But I am surprised they picked a running back in the first round. We knew they needed offensive weapons, but who would have thought they would get a running back and not a wide receiver? That's very interesting. All right. So obviously the first round in the books. But there was definitely something interesting that happened as far as first round is concerned. There was a pick that was slated to go in the first round and ended up going in the 5th. And that would be, of course, the son of Deion Sanders himself, Sheduer Sanders. Are you again, same order, Tylor, Alex, Ben, Keith, myself. Are you guys surprised he fell down this far? And
No.
do you think and hold on, let me finish. And do you think, and if the Browns didn't strike, do you think he was gonna fall faster? Like probably undrafted free agent. Tylor. Continue. Tylor?
Because can you hear me?
Yes.
I think that Sanders should have went undrafted. He's not that good, so I'm not actually surprised that he fell.
Huh. Interesting. There was actually a poll by friend of the channel, Urinating Tree, who actually had where do you think Sheduer Sanders will go? It was like 4th round, 5th, 7th, undrafted free agent, and McDonald's. McDonald's was the poll winner. All right, Alex.
I think this is a project of Dion's fault. They limited the private workouts. He didn't go to the combine. Teams were sleeping on him. They didn't see how he performed. He struggled in Colorado. They didn't win a bowl game. I think this is Deion Sanders' fault for his son falling into the first round. I feel like if he didn't do any of that, what he did, he would have been a 2nd or 3rd round pick, or maybe even a 1st round pick for the Steelers or the Browns, or teams that needed him. I'm surprised he did get drafted because I thought with Tylor that he was going to get undrafted too because of everything that was going on with the prank call and then not doing the combine, private workouts. There were like 3 or 4 different teams projecting teams that wanted to work on him. It was just a cluster of nonsense for this to happen.
He wanted him to go to a specific team. That's why they rejected him.
Yeah. Ben.
So The only other team, if the Browns didn't draft him, that I think that probably would have took a chance on him, and he would probably just been there as a backup. Keith, you're gonna laugh at this one. I think the Eagles would have done it.
They had kitten mittens. Why would they take the chances of Sheduer Sanders?
They don't have kitten mittens no more.
Oh yeah, he's a Brown. I forgot.
Yeah, that's
It
the
doesn't pop me now.
I would have taken a chance on him as a backup. And if Jalen Hurts ever didn't want to stay, or he left or got injured, and maybe he can be mentored. Maybe that's about it.
Yeah. Well,
that's why I like to pick up with Kyle McCord. Anyway.
Yep. All right, Keith.
I'm surprised that he didn't get higher because, even though he is only the son, the dad comes along sometimes just to mentor him a little bit. And with that,
right.
and coming into the camps with his son, brings a little bit more information and stuff like that.
When you
and
guys
a
are,
little bit thing.
I will definitely add this to Keith's addendum. I definitely think that his dad didn't do him any favors. I think that Sheduer Sanders' ego, to add to Tylor and Alex, I think his ego and not working the combine and working out with the other teams, trying to manipulate his own draft position, like where he would land. I think that was one of the biggest mistakes he ever made. He definitely lost out on a lot of money. Because obviously the NIL deals in the NCAA went away. So he definitely didn't do himself any favors by pulling the stunts that he did.
UFL.
Yep.
He
would probably be in the UFL, probably in Canada, or arena ball. Like, he didn't do himself any favors.
May I add something onto this too? What I'm really surprised though is that the other Sanders brother didn't actually get drafted. I'm surprised he didn't get drafted. He's actually better. He's the better Sanders brother, and I'm surprised he didn't get drafted. He went undrafted, and the Bills grabbed him.
Which to be fair let me add to that. I mean, the reason why I think Sheduer Sanders didn't get drafted was, again, this was a defense heavy draft. A lot of skill position players on the defensive side of the ball, especially corner and safety. Were definitely there were definitely a lot of higher value picks out there. Like I said, Buffalo drafted Max Hairston, who is the fastest player in the combine. So, there's that. And but speaking of our teams, I figure let's break down our team and how we think they did in the draft. And once again, I'm starting with draft order. So Tylor obviously is first. And again, because I'm the host, I'm last. So again, Tylor, how did the sentient derps do?
Overall, for the Giants, I actually think I'm going to give them a B+ for the draft picks, honestly.
All right. Tylor says B+. B+, but they're still the derps.
You want me to explain, or do you?
Yeah, explain. Don't just leave it out.
Well, we needed the defense. Tavon Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence can't do it all. I like Abdul Carter. That's a great pickup. We picked up a tight end in 6th and 7th, 6th round, a running back. And honestly, I think trading up to get Jackson Dart was a shock move, but I think it's better overall. With having older quarterbacks like Winston and Russ to mentor him, I think he'll be better off. I think that's better. I think that's a great idea, and I actually just like overall what we picked. Actually,
all right, Alex, Washington. How did they do in the draft? And break down your picks.
I'd be right there.
Wait, and as an A. It's just great to see there's a lot of holes on the defense of the ball that we filled. We could have been in the Super Bowl because we struggled against the Eagles to stop the dominating offense they had in that playoff game. We added a great offensive lineman who's 6'5", who's a giant on the offensive line to defend against the pass rush with the Giants and the Eagles. We boosted up the corner spot with a great Ole Miss corner. This being compared to Austin Debo, which is by far one of the best corners in free agency based on every analyst on the face of the earth. And then we got a little small receiver to, fill in on receiver depth. So obviously we have a good receiver going so far. There are a lot of pieces that I wanted. I wanted a safety. I wanted, maybe another quarterback just to give way to help Mariota and, Sam Hartman over there in the QB room. But overall, I'm happy for this. I'm letting Adam Peters do what he did. I'm not going to overreact to anything and say, we're going to go all the way this year because I waited to mid-season to say that about the Commanders because with the Commanders, we can either blow everything and lose every game next year or actually go someplace because Jay Daniels won't have a sophomore slump like Tisha Giles did.
Well,
So
hold on.
again, what was your letter grade on that one?
An A.
Solid A. Okay. Ben,
Okay. You want my grade on this one? You want
your
my honest
grade
opinion?
and your opinion on your pick. Yes, sir.
I give it a C. I give it a C plus. We didn't get a
Ooh.
safety. We didn't get an edge rusher. What the hell are we doing? I understand getting an offensive lineman. Wide receiver, he's 5'10". Do we not learn anything from these short wide receivers that we keep drafting? They don't pan out. They are horrible for us. I will eat crow if he's good. Okay? And we got a linebacker. We didn't need a linebacker. We needed a safety, and we needed an edge. Is this guy an edge rusher? No. He's a linebacker, unless he's a hybrid, which I highly doubt it. I don't know. And we didn't even draft Sean Taylor's brother. Or what the fuck are we doing?
Only a brick wall can stop you. Its name is the Eagles. Speaking of, Keith.
I give him a C.
Oh, okay.
Because, hey, a linebacker is good, but it's, so much more could have been chosen first round. Yeah, I saw them picking a lot of other people for defense, but it's like, there was so many more people out there that they could have chose instead of Campbell. There's a lot better people than Campbell.
Right.
And Campbell actually went a couple rounds above where he should have went.
You're saying a little bit of a reach. And
wait a minute here. The Eagles didn't draft him.
Yeah, I'm about to say, hold up. Yeah.
I'm looking at this. Who said the Eagles drafted him?
Yeah.
Because he just I don't think he was drafted.
Jackie Campbell?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sean Taylor's brother was.
The Eagles flip at the Chiefs to get him.
He's talking about Sean Taylor's brother. He's talking about Sean Taylor's brother.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I'm talking about Campbell.
And Keith is talking about Jihad Campbell.
Sorry, I don't mean to confuse you, but I'm looking at the Eagles draft picks and I'm like, wait a minute, he's not even in So somebody said he was, but he wasn't.
I think it was Ryan who who said that. I think
he probably lied. I don't think he was drafted, dude.
And before we get to me, we gotta bring him in. Yenzer, what? Talk about your draft. No. What? No, I'm giving this a B.
How you feel about Aaron Rodgers?
He's going to the Vikings.
I gotta vote Robinson.
We should have saw that one coming.
The answer is giving him a B. Yeah, a B minus. All right, and that's all. Get out of here. See ya. He doesn't want to talk about it. And as for me, obviously I root for the Bills. I am giving the Bills draft an A minus. Like 85% of their draft was defense. 85%. I kind of wish they didn't draft a tight end and instead, just drafted another offensive tackle or offensive guard. But that's just me. I would like to have reinforced the offensive line a little bit. And kind of interesting that we got Sheduer Sanders as an undrafted free agent. But again, I think that Buffalo had an A minus draft. Like, I like what they did, especially finally getting a fast corner, Max Harrison, to combat against Xavier Worthy, who was a pick we traded to the Chiefs and bit us in the ass a little bit, and Tyreek Hill, one of the NFL players best known for having more babies than Phillip Rivers. You could say he's the Nick Cannon of the NFL.
Oh,
But that is it for our podcast, and we would like to tell you that we are being sponsored by Fanatics. As everyone knows, Fanatics is the only place to get official gear to support your favorite team, whether it be the NFL, MLB, NBA, or the NHL, which is the official jersey provider of the NHL. They also do WWE, NASCAR, and of course the NCAA. But obviously the draft happened, so get your new superstars drafted jersey. Hey, maybe if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, you could finally get that Sheduer Sanders jersey like you want. Or if you're a Vikings, you can get that Aaron Rodgers jersey of your dreams. You want it. But
you know you like it.
Don't just take my word for it. Use our affiliate link in the bio wherever you get your podcasts. Show the channel some love. Grab a hat, grab the jersey, grab a t-shirt, pajamas, or swimwear, because it is getting hotter. It is getting hotter. So, again, use our affiliate in the bio every game podcast and show the channel some love. Fanatics. And like I said, that's it for our podcast. Want to thank our other podcasts as well. The Dirt and Turf podcast, Biscuits and Penalties, The Lap Down, Social Slam podcast, Passing the Pigskin. All 5 of those podcasts that we also have that covers baseball, hockey, pro wrestling, college football, and of course our football podcast, the Hard Count, that you are listening to now. We are on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok as long as the government has it open. But unfortunately, it's the government, the reason nothing works. And of course, our other affiliates are in the bio wherever you get your podcasts as well. Don't forget to support the channel that way. Also, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment on any single one of our videos, on our YouTube comments, Spotify, again, wherever. And as this is the draft, the draft marks the beginning of the NFL season. However, the draft, is the end of the season for the Hard Count. And at the preseason, we're going to start season 4. So, again, hey, the Hard Count is coming for season 4. Expect some big things coming. But, after all, I'm Cobra. On behalf of Alex, Tyler, Ben, and Keith, we will see you preseason. See y'all for season 4, everyone. Take care.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Hood.